Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off. We're running another brand new live edition, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. on this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, isn't it? It is, and the phone hasn't rang yet. I've not heard the phone ring. Uh-oh.
It's a bye week, man.
Oh, that's true. Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, I was I was panicking. And then I forgot. I even said it in Zone Center that it was a bye week, so we wouldn't have a game. So
our fifth grader prognosticator knows it's a bye week, man. He's way ahead of us.
He's sleeping in today on his way to school.
There you go. He knows.
I totally forgot that it was a bye week.
He's going over the numbers and the analysis and everything. He'll be ready to go for LSU next week.
I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Wednesday. And we haven't heard from Grady. I thought something bad had happened to our fifth grader prognosticator.
He's not picking any games this week. The cocktail party's predicted to be a blowout, and who knows if Dirt Neck will have any players show up by Saturday. They may all be in drug rehab. We don't know.
That's the story that we touched on a little bit yesterday, and it kind of brewed, and it kind of came to light yesterday a little bit more that indeed there were players suspended for smoking marijuana in the locker room after the South Carolina game. So that is where Texas A&M is at on today. The story, though, that kind of came out last night, and it has to deal with the Auburn Tigers. And if this is the case, I tell you what, though. See?
You tipped it off.
I did. Grady the Greek, though.
He may have a pick this week, man.
Grady the Greek joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, our fifth grader prognosticator.
G, what's up, man?
What's going on, bud?
I'm heading to school.
I got you.
Good.
So what did you think of the game last week?
Bama, we played good.
Yeah. So have you got a pick this week, or are you just going to give some thoughts on the bye week?
Hey, Grady.
We got you?
All right. Well, apparently.
Okay, go ahead, Grady. Go ahead, man. I thought we'd lost you.
So I'm picking the Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee, Kentucky game. That's the biggest game of the weekend.
Look at you.
Is. There it is.
All right.
Who you got, man?
What does Grady the Greek say?
Tennessee 48, Kentucky 28.
Uh-oh, so he's picking a blowout.
48-28. Tennessee continue. Tennessee's going to wear those all dark uniforms, the black uniforms on Saturday.
Oh, the Halloween uniforms.
Yeah, they're wearing the Halloween uniforms on Saturday, and Grady says that's worth 48 points and going to be a 48-28 Tennessee win.
Interesting.
Yeah. Does that hurt that you have to pick Tennessee to win there, Grady?
Yes.
Oh.
So when are you going to start breaking down Alabama LSU? Have you already started kind of thinking about it?
No.
Not yet?
No, sir.
Okay.
All right. Well, how's that baseball? How's fall baseball going?
Good. I have another game.
You have another game?
Uh-oh.
It's the Auburn game.
He's picking the Auburn game.
Arkansas.
Auburn, Arkansas. This is an early kick.
Two teams that Grady.
Okay, Grady. Who you got?
What do you got?
Arkansas 31, Auburn 21.
Okay, he picked Arkansas to win it by 10.
You know what? I I would tend to side with Grady on that one because I was looking over some of those numbers. Auburn's rush defense is dead last.
Neither one of these defenses are very good, so you might as well get ready for. I would take the over myself.
Ole Miss rushed for 450 yards or something like that on Auburn last weekend.
Grady is picking 31-21. I'd probably go even higher than that because I think
61.5 is your over.
I think the defenses are both bad.
Pig suey.
Oh, Grady with a pig suey.
Grady. All right,
yeah,
buddy.
we need to use that as our Arkansas mantra now from somebody.
do.
We need to cut that out, pig suey. Hey, Czar, we got you a new one, brother.
Oh, all right, Grady. Who are we going to give a shout-out to this week?
Shout out to you guys.
Oh, hey,
Wow.
there you go. On the bye week, we get a shout-out.
That is awesome. I think that's
man.
in 3 years.
Appreciate it.
I think that's the first one we've had in 3 years.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right, bud.
Thanks, Grady. Have a good day at school, bro.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
And
Thanks.
we will hear from you next week. All right, bud. Take care.
See ya.
All right, Grady the Greek.
So he did call in. Yeah, and then he had 2 picks.
Even on a bye
48
week.
to 28 Vols, and then 31 to 21 Hogs over the Tigers.
Did you say vomit?
Yeah, I did, because that's what the uniforms are going to look like.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, seriously, can't we just stay with the orange?
Yeah.
Can't we just keep it with the orange? Why do we got to go black? I don't know. I thought they looked pretty sharp, but still, a lot of people like that traditional look. All right, so we were kind of previewing, I brought it up right before Grady called, and that is what is going on down at Auburn.
Landon King and Zacchaeus Walker, goodbye.
Yeah, but then it came out from the Auburn Daily that Auburn football head coach Brian Harsin is telling players that have asked for red shirts that their only option is to either quit the football program or enter the transfer portal.
On December the 5th, because they have those windows now. And December the 5th is, after the SEC championship game and before the bowl games and the playoff and all that stuff. And so
it's a 45-day period that begins after the championship selections.
Landon King had been a guy that played a little early, made a really good catch, and his only catch of the season, but then wasn't really getting a lot of time at wide receiver. And he had a big catch at the touchdown catch in the Iron Bowl too in the overtimes, but he just decided that he wanted to move on, or he actually wanted to just redshirt and stay with the program. But again, a lot of coaches are doing this for players that are trying to basically decide if they want a redshirt or not. I don't think Carson's the only one doing it. And I'd already heard Zacchaeus Walker, according to Justin Hoganson, who does a great job for Auburn Live on 3. He had said that Zacchaeus was unhappy and was more than likely going to move on and transfer. And you're going to see a lot of this, especially considering that I strongly believe Auburn's going to go through a coaching change. I wouldn't be surprised if Landon King ends up with like a lot of them at UCF because there's been a bunch of Auburn guys that have left that program and ended up playing for Malzahn at Central Florida because of the previous relationship. So
does he have a lot of relations?
Yeah, because he first thing he did in his on Twitter was thank Gus Malzahn for bringing him to Auburn because he was recruited by Gus. So it's just one of those things. There's no utopias. I mean, we just already kind of joked about what's going on at Texas ATM, and I mean, mercy. I mean, this is just kind of the environment you're in now with the transfer portal and with NIL. And if guys get disgruntled, they're going to bail. And so one of the things that's going to be the most important is communication, relationships, and being able to keep kids in your program. And not just – it's not when you sign them and get them on campus. You got to – it's almost having to like re-recruit your guys, every year because there's going to be guys that go in the portal. There's going to be – guys that, aren't happy with their role. And so that's just the way it is, man.
All right, let me ask you this, though, real fast. Let's say Auburn goes on to get the best of Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M, and then beat Western Kentucky. So that would give them 7 wins. You go into the Iron Bowl. Even if you trip up in the Iron Bowl, you finish 7-5. You're 4-4 in SEC play. and you're playing with a first-year starting quarterback. I mean, is that enough to keep Brian Harsin? I mean, you look at how bad things have gotten.
It's all about fit, man. They've got to get the new AD in there, and that's what they decided to do. They decided to get the athletic director in place. But once the athletic director's in place, unless we see a dramatic turn of events, like all of a sudden this Auburn team, and we talked to Jason Caldwell yesterday.
Right.
He said they could win, 4 in a row. They could lose 4 in a row. I mean, now if they went on a huge streak and beat Alabama, of course he's coming back. Okay, but I just think if you've seen this football team play enough, offensively and defensively, you just don't see it. You don't see the playmakers. You don't see them. Now, could they win a game or two? It wouldn't shock me. Now,
but you're not seeing anything that makes you believe that this team can win 4 straight down the stretch.
Not at all. Because look, it's been on both sides, and then even kicking game mistakes. Because they Anders has missed some kicks. They've made some mistakes in the kicking game, no question about it. But again, the biggest thing is offensively and defensively. Just like they threw the ball really well against LSU, but they still couldn't win the game. They ran the ball really well against Ole Miss, but they still couldn't win the game.
Right.
And their defense has not been as good. See, I thought going in, the strength of the Auburn team would be their defense. I thought they would be a top 5 defense in the SEC, and it's been far from that. They have struggled.
Right.
And so I just – I'm not saying they're losing out at all.
No.
I just don't.
We have not seen anything. There's nothing.
I don't see him getting enough wins where hiring a new athletic director, a dude that didn't hire you, the first thing they're going to want the guy to do is, along with the help of the administrators and the boosters, is go get somebody to fix Auburn football or at least get them on the right track. And I just don't think recruiting. I know they've created a little momentum, but I still don't think it's going well enough. And again, they're going to have to attack the transfer portal. And and I think, I'll be honest with you, if Auburn was able to even, sneak in a win or two and get to, a bowl game, I don't think he'd coach in the bowl game.
Let's get out to the phone lines. Richard with us first this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Hey, Scott, I saw on Twitter that you're going to be Dirt Neck for Christmas. For Halloween.
I'm actually going to go as Kurt Ferentz.
Yeah.
So, did you guys see what Weber State did over the weekend?
No.
Yeah, they had, 4 safeties?
Four safeties. The snapper sent over the punter's head 4 times.
Yeah, 4 safeties for Weber State. I saw that.
Yeah, but every snap was like, it's like, you remember the old days with Steve Sachs at second base.
Oh, yeah.
First.
Chuck Knobloch.
I mean, it wasn't like 2 feet over the punter's head. This was like 20 feet over the punter's head. Yeah. There's like an all-time record. 4 safeties in a game, and it was all and they weren't snapping from the 1 yard line. It was like the 20.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm just checking this, Scott, because like I said, Auburn's got a 3-4 record. And so
if they win out,
they've
got
8 wins. Arkansas at home, at Mississippi State, A&M at home, WKU at home, and at Alabama.
Right.
Go ahead,
One
Richard.
thing about Alabama, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't let him go before Alabama just in case he wins.
Well, I'm sure they'll have the athletic director in place by then. That wouldn't be a shock. I mean, I'll never forget back in '92 they announced that Pat Dye's last game was going to be against Alabama to try to create some sort of win one for the Gipper kind of thing.
Well, we all said at the beginning of the year 8 wins would be the safe mark for him to be staying as head coach. 8 wins.
Yeah, well.
Now they still have a chance to get 8 wins. They have to win out. They've got to win every game on the schedule to get 8 wins. But I don't think anybody feels confident that Auburn can put a 5-game win streak together to reach those 8 wins.
I just don't see it. And hey, Richard, I know you went to the University of Alabama's basketball practice.
Mark Spears from kind of the North Alabama area looked good.
Yes.
And, running the point out. A little bit small but quick. He had a couple of good threes, and Miller and Burnett looked good. Bediako is out of the boot now.
Yes.
But was just doing agility drills.
Gotcha. So he didn't practice.
He didn't practice, but he was out. Had 2 tennis shoes on. So I mean, he's getting close. Miles actually, I guess what's today, Wednesday? I guess Monday, Miles twisted his ankle and was riding a bike, but supposedly both of them will be back for the first game. I doubt they'll play the exhibition game this weekend, but
hey, unbelievably, within about a week and a half, our own Steve Moulton and Scott Tyson are going to be in Auburn Arena doing Auburn in UAH.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be an exhibition game. Is it November the 2nd?
November 2nd. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think a week from today is this? No, yeah, maybe I think it's a week from today.
Right. And not even. It's pretty basically is a week.
Auburn.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, Richard.
I have to get my UAH shirt out then.
Yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be an uphill battle for John Schulman and company. We'll have to wait.
Go ahead,
Maybe
Richard.
they can play the football. So maybe they can play the football team instead.
Richard, thanks for the
Hey,
call.
by the way, thank you
thanks,
for
Richard.
the tweet too. Yeah, he was the first person, he and being our next caller, to send me the dirt net costume.
All right, Brandon's with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
That video yesterday where somebody did the voiceover from Bob Stoops to
Yes.
Kurt Ferentz.
That was that was the best thing I'd seen. Look, I'll tell you this. Kurt Ferentz, the best drive that he's had all season was from Kinnick Stadium to his house.
Oh, Lord.
That's the best drive he's had all year.
Whoever did that deserves a Pulitzer.
No, they did. It was so it was so perfect. It was so funny. And then yesterday, I didn't think the dumbass could stoop any lower than he did yesterday, but to go out and basically so after the game at Ohio State, a reporter from Cleveland was there.
Yeah.
And basically started asking the hard questions on why do you have your son employed? Why are you letting your son this is nepotism. Why are you doing this, all this other stuff? So yesterday, Kurt Ferentz basically was like trying to say that this guy, it's nice to be asked questions and not being like feeling like you're being accused and basically just kind of threw this guy under the bus or whatever. And everyone's like, you're just a dumbass. You are single-handedly wrecking this program. Well, I'm sorry to go off on an Iowa rant.
I'm not going to blame his son just because it's Kirk Ferentz's philosophy. He's the one that offensively and defensively decides the style of football he wants to play, and he's the one that hasn't basically changed with the times. So, is Iowa still a bowl program? Yeah, but they're not a contending program. They're not a program that's winning championships, and so he needs to change with the times. I don't know why he won't. And see, that's the problem with a lot of coaches. And see, that's why I admire Nick Saban, because he has changed and he does adapt. You have to. If you don't, then you're not going to survive. It's just like basically it took him, just an act of Congress and, just the players almost revolting to get rid of the strength coach.
Well, look at Dabo Swinney. A lot of people say Dabo Swinney has to adapt by his recruiting methods and how he goes about doing things there, that he has to change. If he doesn't change, then the Clemson program is going to take a step back. It's the same. There's a lot of coaches that don't evolve. And right now, I was one of those programs that's not evolving as a college football program, and it's sad to watch.
What's up? What else you got, Brandon?
Well, it appears that Mike Leach is evolving. He's evolved into a T-Rex. And we couldn't even have a meeting because of that yesterday. Everybody kept doing T-Rex arms in the meeting. Our division superintendent was like, could we knock off the T-Rex arms? He's like, I know it was funny. And people kept making jokes about driving to Miss-State and your hands disappearing. He is a jewel. Lord. He was serious when he was saying that crap, too. I don't think that he is in any way trying to be funny. I think that's just who he is.
No, he is. He's just a unique individual, man. He really is.
Lane Kiffin agging him on. I hope he don't ever lose his job in the SEC. I really don't. I think he's fantastic.
Well, if he can go 8-4 every year, they're not going to fire him at Mississippi State. I think they understand. I've always kind of felt like that Mississippi State knew where their feet were. Think about Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen had a job; he could have stayed, but he decided to try to move up and go to Florida, and then he did. But he couldn't adapt to the differing expectations and and that you had to recruit a higher level of student athlete.
Well, I felt the same way about James Franklin when he was at Vanderbilt. I think he could have stayed there and made $250 million.
Right.
Probably would have. But Caden Proctor, if I'm Caden Proctor looking at this mess that's going on at Iowa, I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to be a part of this? And if I'm other coaches, I'm reaching out to him real quick and being like, hey, do you really want to go out here and be on a team that can't score an offensive touchdown? That's where it's really going to start to hurt, is when people like that say, well, I'm reopening my recruitment. And I think
left tackle, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Alabama needs to be ready for that.
Yes, absolutely. I would be reaching out to him every day.
But I will say this.
Sending him that video.
I will say this, though, and this is the one thing where I will laud Ferentz. Over the years of his time at Iowa, he has an offensive line background before he got the job, and
With the Baltimore Ravens.
And they have turned out good linemen. I mean,
no, they
you
have.
can say that.
They have. They've. That's where.
Yeah.
I mean, they have produced NFL
offensive linemen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm just looking at it thinking to myself, the PR you got to do something, and attacking the media is not the way to win people to your side.
Yeah, that's what he did yesterday. He attacked the media yesterday big time.
And he's going to continue to do that, and I wonder how much of that you do before people start looking at you. I mean, at the beginning of this year, I would have thought he'd have been there another 10 years.
He's like –
if he continues –
he's like Jimbo Fisher right now, though. His buyout is like Jimbo Fisher's buyout at Texas A&M.
It's not quite as bad as Jimbo's, but it's
you can't touch it. I mean, you just can't touch it.
Well, you might not can touch the buyout money, but Brian Harsin can attest they can dang sure try to trump up something on you to get rid of you if they really want to bad enough.
That is true. All right, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Let's get to Lewis real fast. Good morning, Lewis.
What's up, Lewis? You there, Lewis?
Yeah.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, good morning, fellas. How y'all doing?
Morning.
Hey, what do you guys think about the player development over the years, like where it is now versus where it was back in the day in college sports?
In college, like football itself?
Yeah, in football itself, in general.
Well, I mean, I think they still do a pretty good job on the college level. I don't like the way they do it in the NFL. I don't think they really develop players. I think they just throw them to the wolves, and if you can't play by your second year, the middle of your second year, they start calling you a bust. And so I think it, a lot of times, and I know they're paying you big bucks, but it's just like quarterbacks. I think they rush quarterbacks too much. I will say the quarterback position isn't being developed as well because of the spread offenses, and we've talked about it with being in the shotgun all the time, especially on the high school and college level. You're never under center. I think when you look at Art Briles' system, his son Kendall teaches kind of the same stuff. So does Gus Malzahn. A lot of these systems don't teach the quarterbacks, and I think that's why there's so many busts. They're not taught to go through progressions the way that you should. It's not a pro-style system. It doesn't translate to the NFL, even though even the NFL is starting to go to some of the RPO stuff. But again, I just think overall, in some ways, it's probably not developed, especially the quarterback position, as well as it needs to be. Now, running backs, wide receivers, and matter of fact, it's probably a little bit better on the college level because it's not 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore. It's not just I formation stuff. It's a lot of the offenses are more wide open. But I think at the same time, sometimes as far as the simplicity of the offenses, I think these guys have a harder time transitioning to the pros.
I'm wondering though, the running back position itself, if that does make it harder to get to not harder to get to the NFL, but once you get there, because there's a lot of NFL teams that still like to play that power running game where it is not quite 3 yards in the dust, but it is a little bit still like that. And these college kids are having a hard time, especially in that running back spot, to adapt to the NFL because they didn't do a lot of that in college. They didn't do a lot of lining up behind the quarterback while the quarterback is under center.
Right. Well said. I was thinking the same thing. So another thing, when it comes to transitioning from college to the pros, do you think it would be a good idea to start drafting wide receivers that played with your quarterback in college, like the Bengals did? And who else did it? Miami? No.
Yeah, well, Miami does have...
Philadelphia's got Devontae Smith, and he played with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, them. And who else? Travis Etienne
and Trevor Lawrence, running back, quarterback. Yeah, it's rare,
do you think
but
that's a smart move.
Well, I don't think it's a bad move. I think especially if you know someone, and if you're now again, a lot of times offensively, it's not the same kind of system. Even though I will say the Dolphins have made a lot of changes to try to help Tua Tagovailoa, and they also Tua played with Waddle, so you got Jalen Waddle and Tua. And then they went and got him, Tyreek Hill, and they're running some RPOs. But, again, I just think overall when you look at it, I just don't think at times that they give guys enough time to develop. Of course, the problem is, too, the money has gotten bigger every year, and they have investments in these guys, and they want immediate return on said investment. They don't want – they didn't draft you in the first round to not start. I mean, now they've done that in the past. They did it with Aaron Rodgers. It worked well. They did it with Steve McNair, but it doesn't happen as often. And so they want you to play. It's just like Mac Jones. Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl last year. He was the best rookie quarterback in the class. Now, into his second year, he's gotten hurt, got off to a slow start, and they're talking about, oh, Lord, Mac Jones is struggling. You know why he's struggling? No disrespect, but Bill Belichick hadn't done a very good job of building the roster. As many Super Bowls as the dude's won, okay?
Well, he has a defensive coordinator being his offensive coordinator this year, Matt Patricia.
I don't think he's got a great staff, and I think he's offensively, and I think they haven't gotten any wide receivers. They don't have a Wes Welker. They don't have a Julian Edelman. They don't have
Randy Moss.
Rob Gronkowski. They don't have these Pro Bowls type Hall of Fame type dudes out there catching the ball. You've got to help your quarterback, and that's my problem. And then when I hear these NFL analysts who all suck, by the way, I just think most of them are terrible. They're sitting there and a lot of them played. I understand that, but they're not even. They don't understand. To me, you've got to help the quarterback. The quarterback can't just elevate everybody around him. You've got to have help. I mean, if you don't help the quarterback, if you don't have a good offensive line, if you don't have receivers, that's my problem. They're like, well, this guy, they drafted him in the first round. Why ain't they going out there and they lighting it up? Because he doesn't have anybody around him worth a tinker's dang. That's
kind of like what's happening to Aaron Rodgers right now in Green Bay.
Well, I mean, they got a lot of his guys. They let my man go to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Devontae
Adams that he played with forever, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL. They haven't drafted guys around him. And again, they just it's what blows my mind. They just and the Patriots are the same way. They tried to make some moves in free agency. I think they've kind of flopped, and their draft picks have flopped. So as good as Bill Belichick is, I'm just telling you, I don't think he's done a good enough job building around the QB.
All right, Lewis, hate to do it to you, but we are up against a break.
I'll tell Lewis this too.
Yeah.
They have built around Joe Burrow, though. That
is true.
They have. They
gave him plenty of weapons.
They've got Jamar
outside.
Chase. Yep. They've got plenty of good receivers around him. They've improved the offensive line. I know they kind of restructured it, but they're trying to at least help the quarterback. They don't want him to be Andrew Luck and just get beat to death.
Let's get that first break in. When we come back, phone line's still open to you, and we'll continue our conversation on a Wednesday Talking Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a large brush fire working in Morgan County. It's out near Trinity, 4100 block of Highway 20. Apparently a construction company has set it there. They're going to watch it. 231 and Monroe Road's a no-injury accident. It's already been moved to a parking lot. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of ice from LG's exclusive slow-melting craft ice for better-tasting drinks, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Final days get up to 25% off plus $750 instant savings on select LG appliances through July 13th. Valid June 22nd through July 13th, U.S. only. Gas range extra. See store for details.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And at the top of the show, we were talking about Auburn and their run, and do we feel like they could rattle off 5 straight wins, get that 8-win mark, which we thought would be good enough? But Nathan King threw this out there yesterday, and he put out there that if Auburn drops this game Saturday to Arkansas, it'll have losses against every SEC West team since Brian Harsin took over, and will have at least a 1-game active losing streak to every other team in the division. So there you go. Even if they get to that 7 wins, it might look shiny, but there's little bubbles and layers underneath that to make it not quite so smooth. Bama Bino with us on the phone lines this morning. Good morning, Bama Bino.
Good morning.
Morning, Scott and Drew. How are y'all doing this morning?
We are doing well,
How
sir.
are
How are you?
Great. Good to hear y'all. I'm kind of looking forward to watching Georgia and Tennessee. I want a Tennessee rematch, but I know what reality is. I think if I know football well enough, Kirby Smart knows how to watch film. If he didn't, he wouldn't be there. I'm pretty sure he's going to rush the quarterback, don't y'all?
Oh, yeah, I think they'll be more aggressive than Alabama was. I mean, certainly they're not going to try to replicate it because what Alabama did didn't work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's going to rush the quarterback. Hendon Hooker wouldn't be an author by now. He's already wrote a book back there. He had time enough to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you thinking on that? Do you think they have the linebackers to rush the line enough to really pressure him enough to put him in 3rd and longs pretty quick?
Well, I mean, I think they can contain Tennessee. I don't think anybody's going to completely stop them, but it's what I thought Alabama could do. I thought Alabama could hold them in the 20s and then outscore them because I really think that Tennessee defense is not very good. But I think Georgia offensively is more explosive than they have been. Now they're going to have to get the ball to Bowers, and they don't run the ball quite as well. But I think Stetson's been good. I think they're better at spreading it out and throwing it around. Now, I think it'll be a little bit more high scoring. If Georgia's going to win the game, I would say something like 35-27, something like that, 38-27. But I think it'll be a high scoring game.
So you don't think they have the defense nowhere near they had last year?
No, I mean, it's not as good as last year. And you don't
so
expect to. I mean, they lost 5 dudes in the first round of the draft. I mean, they lost some guys, man. They're still good on defense. And again, Bama Bino, in this era of football, holding somebody to 21 is considered pretty good. It used to be not good. When Gene Stallings was coaching, I remember his philosophy in the 90s was if you could score 17 points, he felt pretty good. And then that's not going to be anywhere close to what happens today.
Right. Think about this, though. Does Kentucky or Georgia have the ability to hold Hendon Hooker below 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns?
Well, I mean, they're going to have
pressure on him.
You got to get the quarterback on the ground. I mean, but you think about this: Kentucky did a lot of great things against them last year and dominated the time of possession, and still lost 45-42 because they couldn't
got to have a
stop
linebacker
them.
stay at home to where the linebacker stays at home in case he gets to running too.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a double-edged sword, but I trust that we can. I think we could have kept up with him laterally, athletically, if we could have just put pressure on him.
Hendon Hooker's lowest performance this season so far was against Ball State in the season opener, and I probably imagine he only played a half in that one, if that. But he only threw for 221 yards in the game against Ball State. That was his lowest offensive throwing performance of the season. He's thrown for 325 against Pittsburgh, 298 against Akron, 349 against Florida, 239 against LSU, but of course he didn't play in the back half of that one. 385 against Bama and 276 against UT Martin, which we know he didn't play a lot in that one either. So those are Hendon Hooker's numbers, and so if you are Georgia or Kentucky this weekend, your goal is to limit him. I mean, you're not going to stop him completely. You just want to limit him.
The 92 season, I went to every single game except the Ole Miss game, and you had a dynamic you didn't have right now. They were playing the ball. You had Langham and Teague and Sam Shade, and they're just they were taught technique. They look when the man looked. They didn't do this rooster fighting with them. They didn't put hands all over them. Bill Oliver coached defensive secondary, and they played. Langham and Teague, passing on them with the kind of pressure they had. Good luck, because they were good and fundamentally good, and just natural ability too. Adding on with coaching. I know y'all have him on there every now and then, Langham. I really respect those guys. They know their football. That the low high deal he talks about.
Yeah, the high low. Yeah,
the high low route, and he baited them a lot of times. But he had that kind of ability. But he also he hung around and he knew how to play the ball. Is what Saban calls it. My coach taught me to look when the man looks. He's not looking for his girlfriend. He's looking for the ball. So, I mean, they don't do that as much anymore. But I don't know. They didn't ask me, or I'd probably be down there helping them. But I know some about fundamental football, and they're just simply, you can't defend a pass if you can't see it. But I just was wanting to know y'all's take on that. I'd love to play Tennessee again and see. I just wish we did more in-game adjustments. I know Coach Saban is one of the best at recruiting and developing and discipline usually. But as far as in-game coaching, it seems to me like he just leaves blind trust into the coordinators. And Lord, I hope we don't run the ball, throw the ball 3 times on the first and goal on the 7. I mean, I don't care if you got a real name as quarterback and you got a 150-yard running back, all-purpose counting his returns. And he's only, if you can't get 7 yards in 4 plays, you don't need to win. I don't know. Barry Brown would have got beat maybe sometime, but he'd have done it running the ball.
Yeah,
you gotta break it up every now and then to where you don't know you're going to run it every time, but you just kind of mix it up. But anyway, I really hope we get to play them again. But if not, I just hope we win out, so we'll have that to worry about.
All right. Well, thanks for the
you,
call,
Bambino.
Bambino.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Thanks. Let's get that break in. 7:45. Got to wrap up hour 1. When we come back, more conversation for you. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We had one accident this morning, 231 in Monroe Road. No injury there, and they moved it off into a parking lot quickly, so no problem for traffic. Got a large brush fire working in the 4100 block of Highway 20. That's out near Trinity in Morgan County. They've checked on it. Apparently, it's a construction company, and they're going to keep close eye on it. The 6th annual Bernard Blues and Barbecue Fest is coming up this weekend next to Ave Maria Grotto in Coleman. Arts and crafts, live music, great barbecue, and a $10,000 giveaway. The 29th and 30th in Coleman. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey is coming to the Huntsville Museum of Art on Thursday, November 10th. He will sit with Abraham Madcore, the executive editor of Sports Business Journal, for an interview about issues in college football, such as conference realignment, playoff expansion, and name, image, and likeness. This event is part of the museum's Voices of Our Times series, dedicated to bringing in experts in the arts, entertainment, politics, and sports. For more information, visit hsvmuseum.org.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Hey there, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. We're celebrating 40 legendary years here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And to kick this off, we're coming in hot with our all-new Alabama Hot Chicken. Fresh southern fried chicken breast smothered in a blend of tangy, immune-boosting herbs and spices with a spicy finish. Served up with a side of homemade smoked Gouda cheese grits, Miss Mary southern greens, and garlic bread. And there's plenty more where that came from. Stop in today and celebrate with us. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Men, are you having performance issues in the bedroom? Is erectile dysfunction affecting your confidence and self-esteem? Is your relationship being impacted? If ED is a problem in your life, maybe it's time to make the last time you had bad sex the last time you'll have bad sex. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we've successfully treated many men in the area for ED and given them back their confidence, their positivity, and in many cases, helped their relationships. Our expertise is second to none, and our practice is staffed by quality medical professionals. Beyond this, the treatments we use have proven success rates as high as 90%. And unlike online pharmacies that just sell pills, or wave clinics that only offer one treatment option, we have a variety of treatment protocols, including acoustic wave therapy. We found that sometimes a combination of therapies works best, and a one-size-fits-all approach can't get you there. So make the call. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. Call 256-368-0333 or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Follow the Tide right here. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Your home of all things Bama is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Well, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're just a little less than a week away from having the first edition of the College Football Playoff rankings coming out. And it's hard to believe that we are dwindling down the regular season. 5 games left for most teams across the country. Some have 4 games left. Hard to believe that we are at that point in the season, but we are. And this is where the talk really starts to heat up about who is leading your Heisman ballot or who is your Heisman favorite right now, who's kind of taking the inside track. According to Vegas, C.J. Stroud is still your odds-on favorite to win the Heisman right now for Ohio State, followed by Hendon Hooker. C.J. Stroud has the best odds right now at -105. Hendon Hooker is there at +200. And Hendon Hooker still has the Kentucky game, really. It's a ranked opponent right now. And then he has the Georgia game and the SEC championship game still left to play. So he still has so-called statement games on there. But one quarterback,
I'm just telling you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But one quarterback that is making a rise is Bo Nix.
Yep.
Bo Nix was completely off the radar until last week, and now Vegas has launched Bo Nix up into the Heisman odds. He still has a couple games left. So does Hendon Hooker. C.J. Stroud hasn't played anybody yet.
And won't.
And has a Michigan probably. That's about
Until
it.
the end, yeah.
Yeah, Michigan and maybe somebody out of a watered-down, and I mean watered-down Big Ten West that they will roll through possibly. So really, those are
Hail
some
to
of the
the
names
victors.
right there.
That's what I'm going to be doing. Hail to the victors.
Bryce Young's still in there as well, but he's like a plus. He has better odds than Stetson Bennett does, Bryce Young.
Well,
but
you know,
he is at +2,000 or 2,500, I should say.
If Bennett
Bryce Young
throws for 400 yards, he'll rocket up the charge if they beat Tennessee.
Right.
But I'll just say this: if Hendon Hooker puts up big numbers against Kentucky, and then he beats Georgia and Athens, he's number one. I don't care what any Big Ten shill tells me, because who in the blue hell has Ohio State played? Tell me.
Ohio State hasn't played anybody.
Nobody. Notre Dame is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Somebody brought them up the other day, and I'm like, who? They lost. Did they lose to, or did they barely beat Stanford? Was that what it was? I don't really care because I haven't kept up because they suck. But, I mean, I think they beat them 16-14. I mean.
No, I mean, yes. I
mean, they stink.
Because Notre Dame started the year inside the top 25. They're one of those teams that we
top
update.
5.
Yeah.
I mean, but it doesn't matter. They stink.
Well, you really are passionate about how bad they are.
But I'm just saying Ohio State has beaten absolute. Now, we'll see. They got this is probably the best team they played coming up this weekend. They're on the road at Penn State, I believe.
They are,
yeah.
yes.
And so they're going to
But
Happy
Michigan
Valley. We'll
dismissed
see.
Penn State rapidly, pretty easily in the second half.
Yeah,
in
I don't expect Penn State to win that game, but I'm just saying.
So Ohio State's schedule, in case you are wondering, of how easy it has been for the Buckeyes. They did open up with Notre Dame. Since then, they have played Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan State, and Iowa. They have. This is who they have. I know.
Who?
This is who they have left: Penn State, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, and Michigan. That's Ohio State's remaining regular season schedule.
And I'm sure that Ryan Day, and I'd like to call him something else, but this is not XM radio, is going to keep C.J. Stroud in there up 30, throwing deep to run up the Heisman stats because he's a peckerhead. I can say that on this show.
Well, I hope we can.
Well, we can. It's not a cuss word. It's not one of those George Carlins.
I think okay. All right. Well, let's see here. It is 7:55, so most kids are at school by now anyway, so we're good.
I mean, he's running up the score. He's going deep.
Yes, he did that. He did that against the Iowa Hawkeyes this past weekend.
Put in your backup and let him throw deep. I got no problem with that, but you're just trying to run up meaningless Heisman stats to get C.J. Stroud, the trophy this year. And we'll see. I mean, but I'll just say this. Don't choke against Penn State. Don't choke.
Right.
Don't go out there and gag, Ohio State, since you hadn't played anybody. Don't choke.
So you wanted to even go a step further. The only game that Ohio State has played on the road this year is at Michigan. Everything has been at home. Ohio State is Michigan State, yeah. Michigan State.
And they're awful.
Ohio State is 7-0 and has played 6 games of those 7 at home this season.
What a schedule. What a team. Playing a real conference.
Well, they're adding UCLA and USC. There'll be a real conference. They have uniforms and everything.
Yeah.
All right, so that is, and the reason why I wanted to bring the Heisman odds up is because at the top of the hour, our first guest of the morning, Josh Pate, was at the Oregon game.
This is what we want to talk about. He saw Bo Nix with his own eyes.
Bo Nix. He saw him improve from his time at Auburn.
No question.
So I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to set the table to get Josh Pates' thought on how how Bo Nix has improved, or I don't want to say he's improved. I think he's put more consistent games together.
He's in a better environment.
A better offensive line.
Period. I know it's a first-year coach, but he's with an OC that he was familiar with, that he worked with at Auburn. They got a better offensive line. They got better skilled players. Now they play in a weaker conference, but still, there's more stability at where he's at.
Weaker than the Big Ten or weaker than the Pac-12 or the Big 12?
I mean, I don't know. I just play the Rose Bowl. Suck versus pathetic. I mean, I don't know. I don't think either league's worth a tinker's dink myself.
Right now, I would say the Big Ten is down. I mean, outside of Ohio State and Michigan.
I mean,
outside of Ohio State and Michigan,
I
make
think
your
the
case.
SEC's down. I mean, I think the West has looked weaker.
The East has looked stronger, I think.
Well, because you got Georgia and Tennessee.
And Kentucky's inside the top 25.
Kentucky's still good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see how they play against, Tennessee. Now, if they get smashed, you can't really say that. Now, they could play them tough, and it wouldn't surprise me. We'll see about that.
Well, Tennessee's got the power of the black Halloween uniforms on their side. Oh. Hour one is in the books. Josh Pate up next.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-737-9944. That's 1-800-737-9944. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-737-9944. That's 1-800-737-9944.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Chapman Commercial Realty.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just getting a wreck in Morgan County, 67 and Anderson Greenwell Road. That one's got a couple of vehicles involved. May have injury. We don't know for sure on it yet. And we had 231 in Monroe Road. That one was a no injury. They moved it off into a parking lot. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Plenty of sunshine. We are going to be much cooler this afternoon. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 60s, falling into the mid 40s through the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
NBA, the Hawks off to a 2-1 start, going on the road tonight to face the 1-3 Pistons. Atlanta a 7-point road favorite, 229 the set total. The World Series starts Friday in Houston, Phillies and Astros. Houston the favorite to win the title at -175, Philly at +145. Bryce Harper, however, the odds-on favorite to be named the World Series MVP. Harper at +550, Houston's Yordan Alvarez at +600, Jeremy Pena at +700. Astros -165 on the money line in Game 1 Friday, Phillies +140, 6.5 the total. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome back into the show. It was an entertaining first 60 minutes. Really entertaining first 60 minutes. We're going to do the same thing for the next 60 as well right here. Make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app so you can have it in the palm of your hands so you can listen to all the entertainment that we provide each weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Our first guest of the morning, Drew, was out on the West Coast. He did get to see the Oregon Ducks and the UCLA Bruins, a game where Oregon just dominated, I believe, that game in route. A lot of people thought UCLA might come in there and have a chance in that one, but Oregon and Dan Lanning and the conversation of our first hour, Bo Nix, really solidified Oregon, and boy, oh boy, have they improved since that Week 1 game against Georgia.
Yeah, and our next guest, he took his road show to Autzen Stadium for the first time to check out the big Pac-12 date and see the new Bo Nix. And we're going to talk to him about that. We're going to talk to him about his next stop and what we saw from the Southeastern Conference. We love our weekly visits, and you can connect with him at Late Kick Josh on Twitter. And his Late Kick Live show is Tuesday and Thursday, and also on Sundays at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. And he has his Late Kick pod as well. And he does an outstanding job. And, of course, he's with CBS and 24/7, and that's Josh Pate. Josh, welcome back. And how was the trip to Oregon? It seemed like you had a great time.
I loved it. You know, I grew up down here, pretty much like everyone listening to the show right now, so I didn't really venture out to the West Coast much as a youth in West Central Georgia. But I had never been to Oregon. I had never been to Autzen.
Nice.
But I think all of us have heard about that place, and we've seen it on TV. They really, really do a good job up there. The best test I decided I could do was let's stand on the sideline, let's get ourselves on a big third down, and let's just close our eyes and see what it feels like. And it really does check out like a bunch of bigger SEC or Big Ten venues. They're really, really good about game day atmosphere. I cannot vouch for the rest of the Pac-12. Let me put that out there. But I can say for Oregon's sake, they do a really, really good job up there.
Yeah, we saw some of the pictures from the Stanford game on Saturday, and that is from one extreme to the other. And speaking of one extreme to the other, Bo Nix, when he was here at Auburn, we saw him have games where, man, he looked every bit the five-star quarterback. And then we would see games where it was, okay, the offensive line letting him down, he's scrambling for his life, and he just needs to be healthy. Bo Nix is just putting it all together out there in Oregon.
He sure is. I was over at the facility Friday night. I mean, I don't know if it's the most responsible thing for Dan Lanning to do, but he sat there in his office and talked to me till about 10 o'clock the night before a game. And I asked him about Bo Nix. I said, what all changed about him? I see results. I can look on a piece of paper and see results. But what would you say the most important change was? He said, well, that's the thing. We didn't change much about him. To be honest, he said the only thing that we've really hammered on him is don't run backwards. And it was the kind of battered quarterback syndrome that you get when you play in an offense where you're not protected and you don't have a lot of weapons around you and you start to see ghosts. And that's what he did at Auburn a lot. And he said, once we got that out of him, which was not hard, we just let him play. We put him in a good system. We've developed him. We've surrounded him with good supporting cast. He's got a really good coordinator up there that knows him in Kenny Dillingham. and they've let him go to work. And you guys are close to probably the high school scene, too. So you knew about him in high school. I watched him in high school. He was a very good player in high school. So if you were to watch Bo Nix in high school, then you took about a 3-year nap, and you woke up and you saw him right now, it would make all the sense in the world. It's just that middle part of the sandwich, that Auburn tenure for Bo Nix, that's what doesn't make sense if you really know his skill set.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we've talked about it. This Oregon team kind of controls their own destiny. They've got an interesting schedule down the stretch, a bunch of ranked opponents. If they run the table, Josh, they're going to be in the playoff, in my opinion.
I think it's possible. So here's where your hang-up could be. You just could have a crowded field. You could have a couple of them from the Big Ten, a couple of them from the SEC. You never know what Clemson's going to do. If they're undefeated, they're going to be in there. So you could have, by process of elimination, a crowded enough field where someone says, we're not letting a team that lost 49-3 to Georgia in the playoff. I could see that, but the point is, the point you're making is valid, and that is they are totally rejuvenated. They're undefeated in conference play, so that one loss is to Georgia, and they look really good. See, this is the fun part of our sport. The same thing LSU's doing right now. You've got to give teams room to get better in your mind. So, in other words, don't cast judgment on them. Don't cast the mold in September. As I tell you guys, Meemaw said all the time, wise men make observations in the first weeks of the season. Foolish men make conclusions. Meemaw knew this sport. She was wise beyond her years, and she was right. Now, I'm not saying that loss shouldn't count. So when I'm looking at your playoff resume, I'm all about all those games counting. I'm saying from a personal standpoint, you don't always have teams figured out in September because sometimes teams are about to get better, and unfortunately, some teams get worse in October and November.
Yeah, they do.
And when we look at the NCAA basketball tournament, we always say, hey, look, these guys started off the season, whatever. Now they come into their conference tournament. They're playing better. They're looking better. Football, it's so hard for us to get that mentality because we only have a 12-game sample size.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point, and it also makes it really hard to even figure out when things are happening.
Yeah.
See, this is where I think the marriage of eyeball and analytics really, really helps. So sometimes, even for guys who have coached the sport 30 years, there are times where things are happening with a team that you don't pick up on, but maybe a blind and very, very properly calibrated data and analytics system does pick up on. Especially, guys, if you can properly calibrate it for strength of opponent. That's the key, because I can run it up and down the field on some teams all day long. I'm not really proving I'm getting better or getting worse. So I do agree with that, but it's also why that week one has to count. This is not baseball. You can't go on a run in August and September where you've got a combined 58 games. It's pretty easy to see when you're getting better or worse there. You go 14-2 in September to start off the month, I know you're on a roll. Well, do I know South Carolina is on a roll right now because they beat Kentucky and A&M, both with big quarterback issues when they played them? I think I know that. I don't know it for sure, so it can be tricky sometimes.
It can be. And then speaking of being a little tricky, what is going on in College Station? This is a little delicate. I know you had a strong take on it on Late Kick about this NIL era and what's going on with Jimbo's program right now. A lot going on off the field.
Yeah, and to be real with you, Drew, I didn't even think it was a strong take. I just think it's common sense. I think the three of us could have sat here on this show in February,
right,
and speculated that this could happen. Mm-hmm. I remember doing a segment on it on our show in February after signing day, and it was surrounding a bunch of people making a bunch of noise about how Texas A&M landed that class. And I didn't even decide to get in the weeds of that. However they landed it, you can have an opinion, it can be fact, that's fine. The fact is, though, they landed the class, and so I was making the point that moving forward, there was a lot of celebration out of College Station, and that was fine. It's a big deal to get all those players. But what doesn't happen is you don't just sign the class, especially if you used NIL really hard in getting that class, and then kind of dust your hands off, all's well that ends well, and we just get to reap all the benefits here. You do get that, but there are also consequences with any form of success in life. Whether it's on the field, whether it's recruiting before it happens on the field, you're going to deal with some consequences. And the fact is, in this era, it's a brand new era. There are lessons that are applicable today in college football that have never been applicable before to this degree. And the reason is because classes have never been put together like this. Now, there is someone listening somewhere, because I deal with it all the time, who thinks I just said no one's ever paid a player money to play football, which I didn't say. I didn't say that at all. What I said is the NIL mechanism. In other words, doing it to this degree has never been used in our sport before. And as a result, you have never had kids collectively flocking to a campus for this reason. The closest example would have been SMU, where you got kids from Pennsylvania, you got national kids coming to a place they otherwise never would have come for an obvious reason. Well, this is not just going to be an A&M problem, is my point. A&M's dealing with it right now. But if you get kids using that mechanism, they're not coming to your campus for the same reason that a bunch of kids from East Texas played at A&M for in the late 80s. They did it because they loved that place. And if they got a $100 handshake here or there, that was fine, but that was above and beyond. They were there for a reason. And the reason was, I love Texas A&M. These kids are not all there because they love Texas A&M. It's transactional. And the problem you face if you don't immediately give them what they came there for is they don't have emotional attachment to that program. And so they don't have the same bide my time, be patient, let's wait, good things will come attitude. They'll just hit the exit door. And they'll cause a problem in your locker room in the process, and that's what's happening there right now. And look, I know it's fun to bash A&M right now, and a lot of people are doing it. I've seen them do it. They're having a lot of fun with it. But it's not going to start and end out there. It's not like this is the last place in the NIL era that you're going to have these issues. It's just the most high profile right now.
And staying in the SEC, the next couple weeks is going to be very, very fun, very interesting for several teams. Tennessee has Kentucky this week. They got a Georgia game looming on the horizon. Alabama has a bye week this week, but they have LSU on the horizon. And still, I mean, as bad as Ole Miss looked against LSU, they still have to travel to Oxford for a game. Going to be a next fun couple weeks in the league.
Yeah, that Kentucky-Tennessee game, this is going to be a very bold statement, so I want you guys to brace yourself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is one I'm going to dig deep for. This Kentucky-Tennessee game could either be a blowout or it could be really close. How do you like that?
There you go.
Man, I
know.
I don't know how to feel about that one.
Well, let me finish my walk across this tightrope, okay? So let me balance myself. What I mean by that is there is a stat that's really interesting about that matchup, and Tennessee has not failed to score 30 in forever. They score 30 or more every week. Mm-hmm. Kentucky hadn't given up more than 24 in quite a while. And so it's one of those oil and water things, like which way is this going to mix or which side's going to win out. I do not doubt that Kentucky, especially coming off a bye week, is going to give them a really, really good fight. And then you got the whole look-ahead spot potentially with Tennessee looking to Georgia. But even if you guys were to tell me we're going to enter the fourth quarter tied at 26, I would know I'm still going to have Hendon Hooker for 2 or 3 drives, and they're averaging 4.5 yards per carry at Tennessee, which is not top 10 in the country, but it's plenty good enough, as Alabama found out.
Yes.
That's a plenty good enough rushing attack if you can combine it with that passing game. I just don't think they're going to beat them. Will Levis threw for a career high against them last year. He had more weapons. I would have to see it to believe it. And so you got that one. The one that's more fascinating to me is that Ole Miss A&M game.
Fork in the road.
As crazy as things seem out at College Station right now, it's like the NFL. You can have all that drama 6 days of the week, and you can have your wide receiver threatening to sit out, and you can have marital issues with your left tackle, and you got all kinds of stuff going on. If you win on Sunday, it seems like it's all resolved for a little while. And I feel like a win Saturday for A&M at home, where they are only a 2.5-point dog to Ole Miss, would at least temporarily, even if just 48 or 72 hours, calm the waters a little bit. And you know about all the suspensions out there. Connor Wegman's probably going to have to play at quarterback. Here's the thing, though. Sometimes that's galvanizing. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's played the sport, sometimes when the outside world perceives you as being a wounded animal, that galvanizes that locker room. You really find out the guys who do want to be there. And I think you'll get a really inspired performance from them. Now, if their coaching staff can get out of the way and let them play, that would be beneficial. But I think A&M's got a decent chance against Ole Miss.
Well, and speaking of another interesting game, we just had this as a topic. I still don't know what to make of Ohio State. I think they're really good, but they haven't played anybody. Their schedule's weak. They haven't really played outside of the state of Ohio hardly at all. They're going to go to Penn State. Penn State did not look good, though, against Michigan. What do you make of this?
So when Michigan played Penn State, I thought their offensive line, more so than their running back, did a number on that front. And it was an embarrassing afternoon. Shockingly, I think they may match up better with Ohio State. Ohio State has not run the ball in nearly as dominant a fashion. Now, I still think they've got the capability to, but they, for whatever reason, have not put that together. But at the same time, they can throw the ball a whole lot better than Michigan. Well, what Penn State does have is they have really good cover corners. And so they stand a fighting chance there. What I would watch very carefully is Ohio State has the best red zone offense, or I think the number 2 red zone offense in the country right now. And Penn State's right there near the top 10 in red zone defense. But more importantly, and I don't know that I've ever said this before, I think the game, if Penn State were to pull the upset, would be decided on 4th downs. Because Ohio State's 9 for 9 this year, going for it on 4th down. So if you've got that going for you, you are so emboldened in your decision-making that I think you could have a couple of red zone trips where they do 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 3, 4th and 1, boom, go for it on 4th down. And if Penn State could somehow force some turnovers on downs, that would be the big swing that you could never forecast. That would be the big swing that no data model could ever predict, that would end up with a really, really tight game in the 4th quarter. They are back or against the wall, man. They need that game so bad. If they don't get it, they're out of it. And you've not even gotten to Halloween yet. Basically, they're already out of it. So I think they're going to fight. I still think Ohio State's going to win the game. I think if you feel that way about Ohio State, I don't really believe you'll come out of this weekend saying, okay, now I know everything I need to know about Ohio State, but I think they will get the job done.
One of the story headlines came out of Clemson where the DJ gets benched in a game. Clemson comes back and wins with a backup quarterback. I imagine Dabo will stay with DJU as his starter, but an interesting turn of events there this past Saturday.
Yeah, I got a little aggravated about this. Sometimes it's okay for teams to just be really good. Look, Clemson's not an elite team this year. At least I don't think they are. And so there's this weird kind of vibe someone gets when you start talking about this sport. And I made the comment the other day that if you have a quarterback that's starting for you, and he's doing pretty good, but then all of a sudden he's not getting the job done, and you go to the backup, and he comes in, and they end up winning the game. That's not a quarterback controversy. I don't even use that phrase because it's stupid to me. I say depth. That's what I say. Or at the very least, I say quarterback competition, because I would use the same vernacular if I had 2 left tackles I could trust and I rotated them. I don't have a controversy at left tackle. It's just competition. It's depth. That's a good thing, by the way. Well, when I said that about Clemson, I had a bunch of people push back on me. Oh, so you're saying DJ's elite? Oh, so you're saying they're going to win the national championship? And it's like, I don't even know what planet that response comes from. I'm not saying any of that. They won another game. They're undefeated. It may be that they have a permanently lower ceiling on this team because they don't have a Trevor Lawrence or they don't have a Deshaun Watson. That's okay. It's not the end of the world if you don't win the national championship. But what they are doing is they're putting themselves in position to win. And I'll tell you this, I think a lot of folks already expected them to have at least one loss at this point in the year, and they still don't. So I guess there's something to be said for that.
There is, and then there's something to be said for the Pate road trip now, going to Manhattan, Kansas. This is your first trip to Manhattan.
I am proud to be taking the Every Given Saturday tour out there because, as you guys well know, just a few weeks ago, I was dealing with some serious allegations of SEC bias, SEC homerism, right. And so I checked Oregon off the list. I checked Kansas off the list, and hopefully this is just buying me enough immunity where I'm probably going to be back in this conference through the entirety of November.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think you'll be in Athens, Georgia the next week, but that's just me guessing with all that's at stake there. No question about it. Well, Josh, great stuff as always. We always enjoy the takes, and I know this. I like your new vernacular for Shane Beamer. They ought to have you as a spokesman with South Carolina, and it's Cocktober now.
You don't mess with Cocktober. You know, I dare not even joke about Cocktober. I can play them in September. I can play them in November. You don't want to be drawing them in Cocktober. Really, really crazy stuff happens.
It really does.
Oh, if you only know where this show went in the first hour, that just fits everything we've been talking about.
Well, connect with him, man. He's great. Best show on YouTube at Late Kick Josh. And again, as we said, Late Kick Live on Tuesday, Thursday, also Sundays, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and then, of course, the Late Kick Pod. Thank you, sir. We always appreciate it. Safe travels.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, Josh Pay with us. Good stuff there. And you know what? The Little Apple is not bad. I've heard that the Manhattan, which goes by the Little Apple, is a great place to go and visit.
Well, I mean,
That's what I've heard.
I was watching Josh's social media and his Twitter and the videos he took and everything. It looked like it was lively at all. And I've always heard it's loud as hell.
Look, my son was there on the sidelines.
Yeah. How did he like it?
He was on the sidelines, and he sent me a bunch of videos, a bunch of pictures from the sidelines of that game, and he said it was unbelievable. He said it was
really loud,
a really good time. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard you basically when it's packed and you just can't. The way the place is built, it's not the biggest stadium, but it is
a bowl. Literally, it's built into the ground, and it's you sit on top of you. Yeah, everything is on top of you, and they don't pack it like 90. There's not 90,000 there.
What is there, like 45 or 50?
You know what? That is a good question.
I was thinking it was in the 45 to 50,000 range.
Autzen Stadium capacity is 54.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So it's a little bit bigger than Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Except they get people in theirs.
Yeah. And it's been renovated since 1982.
That's right. We're picking on our good friend Candace Story Lee, but that's okay. Hey, they did get a new floor though. Vanderbilt did. They got a new basketball floor.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. They just can't get anything for the football program. All right, let's get a break in. We're going to talk high school football, our team of the week, when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got another new accident in Morgan County, 31 in Longhorn Pass. That one's coming in as a no injury, but it has blockage. 67 in Henderson Greenwell. That one sounds like it may be an injury type. Still may be working with it. Popeye's $6 Big Box is back with 2 pieces of the crispy hand-battered Louisiana seasoned chicken, 2 sides, and a buttermilk biscuit. Popeye's University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives. Take it to the house this football season with the Alabama Manufactured Housing Association. If Alabama or Auburn returns their first received kickoff in the second half or a touchdown at a home SEC game, one lucky fan will win a $75,000 down payment towards the purchase of a manufactured home from an authorized AMHA dealer. Don't miss your chance to take it to the house this season and win a beautiful manufactured home. Register to win today at auburntigers.com/take-it-to-the-house or rolltide.com/take-it-to-the-house. Certain terms and conditions may apply. To learn more, visit alamha.org. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi everybody, Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Indeed, it is. Each and every week, we do present a 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And this week, all they've done this year is just cross off more first, more team accomplishments, and that is the latest, winning the school's first ever region championship.
Well, it's the second. But it's the first unbeaten season, regular season, in Priceville Bulldog history. Back in 2015, the Bulldogs, before our next guest took over the program, won a region championship. I believe Caleb Barker was part of that. But Priceville won that. It was their first region championship. Mason Carte's older brother was on that team. But now Chris Foster and the Priceville Bulldogs have their first unbeaten regular season in school history, their second region championship as they go 10-0 in the regular season, and they are the ESPN 97.7 The Zone Team of the Week, presented by our great friends at Bryant Bank. And Chris Foster has taken some time this morning to join us and talk about this historic regular season, as it's been great to be a Priceville Bulldog. Last week, Emily Williams-Logan and the ladies of the volleyball program were the Team of the Week, and they went on to the state tournament this week. And now the Priceville Bulldogs in football are 10-0, and they'll be headed to the playoffs next week as they will look to make a historic run at a state championship and get past that second round of the playoffs where they got a year ago. Coach, welcome back to the show. Congratulations to your squad. It was quite a performance in the second half against a really good Randolph team. It's one of those gut check moments, but your kids really responded.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a gut check moment. It was really 2 weeks in a row where we at half were behind and had to kind of find a way to get back in the game and eventually come away with a win.
Well, Coach, before we get into the season as a whole, when you go back, and I'm sure you've watched some film from Friday night, what kind of stood out to you the most, and who kind of helped lead that way a little bit?
To me, what stood out the most was just how well our defense played.
They were great.
Offensively, we struggled that first half, and defense actually kept us in the game and made two huge stops right there before the end of half to keep it a one-score game. That really gave us the opportunity to have a chance at a comeback and a victory.
Yeah, they really did. And, Coach, I agree with you. I know you were quoted as saying to AL.com that you thought Randolph won the battle of the trenches in the first half, and I thought so too. But I thought a big key, though, for Priceville coming back was you guys were able to hold Randolph off the scoreboard at the end of the first half. They had an opportunity in the red zone, and they weren't able to capitalize. And then they got the ball back after forcing a punt with under a minute to go, and you guys held at the end of the half. I thought that was big to only be down 7-0. And then I thought the 2 third down plays flipped the game in the second half. Your quarterback, Prickett, the senior, I thought, you guys are a physical team, you're a running team, but when called upon, you guys really threw the ball well vertically on Friday night.
Yeah, that's honestly the second game where he's had to kind of go out and win it for us. You look at the Fairview game early in the season, and we weren't having a lot of success running the ball, and he had to hit a lot of big passes in that game for us to come away with a win. And then coming out of half there, we're still trying to find our foot and running the ball, and he hits a huge third down and allows that drive to extend, and we get to go score and finally get some blocking. And then I think it was the third drive in half where, we had a holding call, and it backed us up to second and long and then third and long, and he hit a huge pass to Carty on a wheel route down the sideline that kind of kept the momentum rolling.
Well, Coach, you look now and you perfect regular season for this team, a region championship. How much did this season reflect on how much the guys learned from last year in kind of being able to handle success, turn the corner, and play with a target on their backs?
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. I don't think anybody, we lost a lot of our offensive line from last year, but a lot of the skill guys were all back, and so they had a lot of experience with success, and they were a hungry group that worked hard in the summer and actually kind of filled in some of the weaknesses that we had from the year before, which I think showed on Friday, right? We were able to pass the ball a little bit more efficiently this year than what we were last year.
No question, and I'm glad you said something about your defense, Coach. I thought really about the way they were able to hold up in the first half and really kind of stand on their head in the red zone and hold Randolph to a touchdown. And then the second half, Randolph's explosive and they made some plays, but I thought red zone defense was a big key in the game. And then, the turnovers. I know Mason had an interception in the first half, as did Clemens as well. They both had INTs, and Hunter only had 2 coming into the whole season. For the whole season, Andrew Hunter, he had 2 in the game. But then in the second half, I just thought the way you guys dropped in coverage and tackled, you guys did a great job against is probably as good a passing team as you're going to see in 4A.
No, yeah, I agree. I thought, we did a great job limiting big plays. We didn't give up a lot of the home runs. They had to work it down the field in order to make their plays and make their drives. And like you said, we did a great job tackling in space against a lot of really talented receivers.
Mm-hmm. And then talk about Mason. I mean, he had the interception in the first half, and I kind of felt like going in that Randolph did a great job containing him in the first half. Did you guys just kind of make a concerted effort that you were going to get him the football in the second half so he could make a difference?
Yeah, at halftime, I'd already made all the blocking adjustments after the second drive that we needed to make to their defense that they were giving us. It was just a matter of our guys going out there and executing it. And I kind of challenged them at halftime and told them, we weren't really playing up to our standard, and it was about time to make changes because if we couldn't get it fixed, there wasn't a blocking scheme change that we can do. It's just a matter of being able to beat the man in front of you at that point.
Well, Coach, now how do you handle that downtime between now and the playoffs?
For us, we're viewing it as a week to correct a lot of the mistakes that we've been making, and then on top of that, get a little bit of rest and hopefully get some guys healed up for a playoff run.
Yeah, and no question. And is this the way you kind of wanted to set the schedule up when you envisioned it, Coach, or did it just sort of work out that way when you found your out-of-region opponents and when the region schedule came into play?
Yeah, it wasn't initially planned that way. We were kind of in that region where Madison Academy came in, and then they came out.
Mm-hmm.
So region opponents and when we were playing, or non-region opponents, when we were playing them, kind of shifted a lot during that time period.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, no doubt. And then with this group, it's such a deep running attack. And then also I got to give a shout out to him because I thought that the 35-plus yard explosive play on the 3rd and 27 was huge. And then he also had 8 tackles in the game. But I got to give Xander Gaines a lot of credit. Him getting behind the defense and that throw Prickett made, I thought. When you're talking about how backed up you were, say Randolph had scored a touchdown at the end of the half to go up 2 scores, and you guys had to punt back to Randolph and give them a short field to start the third quarter, could have completely changed the game. But I thought your defense making that stop and then that huge pass play, because just a couple plays later, Mason went in from 50 yards from midfield. I thought that basically kind of settled your team down.
Yeah, he had a great game. There's another. I thought he had a big kickoff return after they scored to tie it, too, to set us up with a short field to score. So I thought Xander played a great game that night.
Mm-hmm. It's a special senior class, that's for sure. And I know, Coach, I know it's a special time because they go 10-0, but I know they're not satisfied because they made a great run last year. Madison Academy ended in the second round. I know they're excited to have a chance to potentially go deeper in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's one of our goals. We were, we've been in playoff games before. We've won playoff games, but we want to make a good run this year, and I think it's the right group to do it.
Coach, you look at this season, and you look at last year, and you look at where Priceville is as a whole athletically, not just football, but all the other sports. I mean, could you have imagined seeing the turnout that Priceville had on Friday and the way that they have rallied around this team the past 2 years, just how special everything is right now with everything that's going on?
Oh, it was special. I mean, Friday night was a special environment to be in. You look at our stands, and it was a whiteout, and they filled it up, and they even filled up the sideline of it. It was incredible. And like you said, it's not just football, but it's every sport. When you look at it last year, I think almost every sport made the playoffs. So it was a pretty special year last year, and we're hoping to have another special year this year at Pikesville High School.
No question about it. And what does it mean to your team to be named the Team of the Week? I know this is a special season as a whole so far, but $500 from Bryant Bank, and we'll be out there hopefully tomorrow to do the presentation. And and again, you guys went out there and have earned it with consistency each and every week. But talk about what it means to be recognized for your program.
Yeah, well, it means a lot. It means a lot to this senior class, especially, who put in the 4 years of work, and then they win a region championship and get named Team of the Week. So I promise you, they couldn't be prouder of that accomplishment.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Congrats to the Priceville Bulldogs, man. I mean, I know we had you on the recruiting blitz last week to talk some Priceville Bulldogs football, and we enjoyed that. These kids are fun to watch. You guys are extremely well coached, very physical team. Mason Cartiz is as good a player as I've seen live in person all year. What a great player! But you're not just Mason. There's a lot of great pieces to your program and to this football team. And good luck to you. Hope you can go on a lengthy playoff run. But we thank you for joining us, and congratulations for being named the Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
Awesome. Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks, Chris Foster, Priceville head coach, with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And yes, believe it or not, this week, the final week of the regular season is upon us for high school football, and there are no region games left. All region games are in the books. Now, that does not mean that there's still some playoff spots up for grabs.
There is, because
you've got to go through some tiebreak procedures to get to a few playoff spots. About 80-90% of all the playoff spots are already sewed up, wrapped up, region titles wrapped up. We got a few outliers.
Ironically, I think some of them are in with 4A Region 8 because they face 4A Region 7, and I think some of these into the regular season games could decide some of these region tiebreakers and who gets into the playoffs and who plays whom. Yeah,
Deschler and Brooks from that region are in. They're going to be, I believe, the 1 and 2 seeds. Deschler for sure is that 1 seed. In that region.
Well, Deschler, actually, the 2 seed will be West Morgan. West Morgan.
West Morgan, right.
Yeah, really
West Morgan. And then Brooks, I believe, is in that equation as well.
Going through that tiebreaker situation. A lot of these teams still need to win on Friday.
West, I'm trying to figure out the other one that's in that. I think it's Central. I could be wrong.
Central of Florence is also involved in it, and Rogers. It's Rogers, Central of Florence, and No Doubt, and Brooks. They're all kind of in a wad right there. They're still battling as West Morgan and, of course, as in unbeaten Priceville have already clinched spots in the playoffs.
All right, we do. Let's see, it's 8:43. Let's get that final break in. We do need to have your tomorrow's headlines today when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're beginning to wind things down pretty quick now. Still got a lot of folks scrambling, trying to get in on time. Got a wreck on the Parkway northbound near Martin Road we're trying to clear. Got one in Morgan County, 31 and Longhorn Pass. It's a no injury. Another one on 67 at Henderson Greenwell. Sounds like it's actually going to turn out to be a no injury as well. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of ice from LG's exclusive slow-melting craft ice for better-tasting drinks, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Final days get up to 25% off, plus $750 instant savings on select LG appliances through July 13th. Valid June 22nd through July 13th, U.S. only. Gas range extra. See store for details.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And he can't be in this community doing business without knowing Wes neighbors.
I don't know about that, but it sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and right, the different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we're closed business. We'll close some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Live local shows.
Hello.
Live local play-by-play.
Oh, now's a good time to check the radio.
Plus, the power of ESPN Radio. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Yeah, your tomorrow's headlines today, really, it is a quiet Wednesday. World Series doesn't start for another couple days. We have our favorite, the NBA, going on right now, and we got the NHL going on.
Hey, Ladum hadn't won a game. Is that not great?
He has not won one yet, has he?
Yeah, the Lakers suck.
The NBA going. There we go. That is all that we need to talk about there. There's your NBA update.
Yeah, that's what it, and hey, Brett Drinkard, he messaged us. He wants to know about his Lauderdale County Tigers. They are the 2 seed coming out of their region. They will host as they have made it yet again. They are 6-3. They'll take on the Brooks Lions to end the regular season. As Scott has been saying, this is the wrap-up, and they are the 2nd seed in 3A Region 8. And what we were saying earlier, Priceville has won 4A Region 8. They're the 1. Randolph the 2. We know that. They're both going to host. And then it looks like it's going to be Louis LeBlanc and Westminster Wildcats going to be the 3 seed. They're going to be there. And then because of their win, Madison County Tigers going to be the 4. But as we were saying, they're going to match up against 4A Region 7. And that's Dessler, who's 10-0. And then, as we said,
Dessler will have Madison County in round one.
That's decided. And then West Morgan will be the 2 seed. But the problem is like coming out of that region, it's going to be the 3 and the 4 that are in a log jam. You've got Brooks in a log jam. You've got Central to Florence. They've all beaten each other. So there's 3 teams vying for 2 playoff berths. And it may come down to the end of the regular season for some of these squads because, again, as we've said, I was just checking the region standings just to make sure they all had the same record and they had beaten each other. So it's going to be a little complicated. But Central, Florence, Rogers, and Brooks, they've all beat each other.
Central beat Brooks, but Central lost to Rogers.
Right.
Brooks beat Rogers, but lost to Central Florence.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I don't know, and
the
it's
3 and 4 they're having to
it's
they're
too
still
much
playing
for me.
itself out. Yeah.
All right. So obviously the best clip of the week.
Hey, Coach. With 4 losses so far, it's been pretty disappointing. What's your message to recruits about the future of the program?
Look at what we're doing and the guys that happen. And, also, you look at that bat, they see opportunities. Everybody says, I go somewhere that's winning all the time. I may not play for a while. You know what I'm saying? But no, we've got good young players. Look at the young players team. Look at the young talent we have. Look at the guys making a lot of the plays, and they see it. That we got a good nucleus of what we're doing, and that we're only a playoff on those games. And you sell that, and you see it, and be truthful about it. There's no – in recruiting, the key to recruiting, there's no pitch. When you're a good recruiter, you tell the truth.
Oh, my
God.
Stop this. Stop it. Tell the truth. He's already lied 5 times.
Pixie dust. You build a relationship with truth and trust, and be honest with them about where you see them and what they do, and you don't base everything off 1 year either. You don't base things off history, what people have done, where they've been, what's happened.
1939. Go stick it, Olin.
Olin's not even listening.
I don't care.
We don't talk to Olin anymore.
I know, for a good reason, because he's a propagandist idiot.
In case you did not know, that was Jimbo Fisher being asked about recruiting with 4 losses.
I mean, good Lord. Pixie dust.
Just adds to everything else we've said this morning.
I mean, come on. It's almost Halloween. Where did somebody find Olin on the broom somewhere? Probably after he cleaned the bathroom. Give me a break.
Olin didn't even ask the question.
I don't care. He always asks them, though.
No, because, and you're right, though.
Just absolutely a joke.
Olin did say SEC Media Days that they were going to win anything less than 10.
10-2 is it's a disappointment.
Right.
Well, you've already got somebody putting some manure on your porch in Halloween, setting it on fire, brother, because it's already gone. Whatever the hell that used to be.
Did you used to do that?
Hell no. I just saw it in a movie. I'm just bringing it up, man, because it's manure over there at College Station.
Oh.
We'll have to ask Brandon about that. He seems to be an expert in some of this kind of stuff, I'm not an outdoorsy type person. He is.
Oh, boy. 256-576-4977. I don't know if it gets much better than that. Anyway.
It never does.
I just like the fact that he says there's no pitch.
And you tell the truth to who?
No pitch.
To who, the bank?
Here's $70,000. Come play for us.
Right. And then you can smoke weed in the locker room.
Look, our new producer, Bailey.
Bailey
chiming in.
Bailey's chiming in.
What was that now?
I brought up the wacky tobacco in the locker room. I don't even know if that's true, but you know what I'm saying.
Sounds good.
Catch the ball in the middle, bro.
It's like, what, you're telling me there's no pitches in national championships?
Yes. If you say there's a national champ, that's a pitch.
There is one. I just am not sure if it's black and white television back in 1939. The little bit of TV that they did have back then. The Three Stooges probably did the halftime show.
He did. Oh, speaking of, you know what? My parents were in town over the weekend.
Right.
And my mom put on Leave It to Beaver.
Oh.
Speaking of black and white, that's the first thing that came to my head.
Hell, that was in the 60s at least. I'm talking about 1939, like Wally and them, they were like 2. Hell, I don't know. Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Gotta love ATM, brother.
He is the sound bites that just keep on giving.
I know. Pathetic. And they're not going to fire him. They can't. They owe the guy $88 million. He's just going to have to bring in an offensive coordinator and,
So that's the question, though.
Tell more lies.
I mean, that's the question. I mean, does Jimbo Fisher put everything aside? And Jimbo Fisher calls the plays. He's the offensive coordinator. Will he change? Will he bring in an offensive coordinator to modernize that Texas A&M offense?
I'm sure he will. He wants to keep cashing those checks, but he doesn't really care either because they got to pay him regardless. I mean, he's got him over a barrel for crying out loud.
He doesn't need to do anything.
I mean,
he doesn't need to do anything.
Eventually, these fools that got more money than they got sense, they're probably just going to have to pay him to go away.
All right. They're not paying us to go away. We just have to go away. We just have to go away because it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we do.
Never thought I would hear Peckerwood.
No, that was close.
What'd you say?
I said Ryan Day's a peckerhead.
Peckerhead and Cocktober all in the same
show. Well, that's Josh Pate's term. That's what he said about South Carolina.
Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey is coming to the Huntsville Museum of Art on